Calling our meeting to order at 7:09 p.m. Welcome everybody to our City Council, January 18, 2022. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. Will you please remain standing for a moment of silence for first responders and military members? Thank you. Monica Kuge, roll call, please.
Roll call. Councilmember Soto?
Present.
Councilmember Moran?
Present.
Councilmember King?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Present.
He's on the phone.
Mayor Aguilar?
Present.
For the record, council members, mayor, and Mayor Pro Tem are in attendance.
Thank you. Under closed session announcements, for all three items, we gave direction to staff. Nothing else to report. Council, any changes to the agenda? I don't see any. We're going to move on to citizen comments. The section agenda allows members of the public to address the City Council on any item not otherwise on the agenda. Members of the public, when recognized by myself, should come forward and identify themselves. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. For items which are on the agenda this evening, members of the public will be provided an opportunity to address the council as each item is brought up for discussion. Any citizen comments at this time? Go ahead, sir.
First off, I'd like to say you held a closed session tonight and your council chambers were closed. You have to have it open so you can take public comment. You didn't do that. That was an illegal closed session meeting you held tonight. Secondly, on your announcement that you made, it's voluntary to identify yourself. The law states, the Brown Act states that you don't have to identify yourself. That's not what I'm here for tonight, so I'm going to proceed. What brings me before you today is your city attorney's legal firm, White Brenner, formerly known as Churchwell White. I'm an independent investigative journalist and a former councilman and have been doing this for some 30 years. I was invited to attend and speak to the councils in Atwater, Turlock, and now Livingston by members of these communities. In Atwater, I was contacted by another journalist who covered the city of Atwater because I wrote some articles about the city attorney's firm's exorbitant legal expenses, which typically approach $1 million annually. Patterson spent $4.5 million over 4 years in this firm. White Brenner is proactive, seeking litigation or bringing forward municipal legislation on their own rather than receiving direction from the governing body such as this council. A good example of overcharging is council procedural guidelines, which I understand is or will be under consideration in the future. Doug White presented the exact same guidelines to the city of Atwater after charging full boat to the city of Dixon while simply changing city names. When asked whether this document was discounted, Doug White gave no definitive answer. Legal fees are important, but ethics and morals are of more concern to me, as they should be to you. Tom Hallinan is a member of Doug White's firm. Tom Hallinan is also the city attorney for Ceres. I attended a council meeting in Turlock where Doug White was the city attorney. I was not surprised when I learned Tom Hallinan and Doug White conspired to bring then city manager of Ceres, Toby Wells, over to the city of Turlock without going through the formal interview process. Additional investigation brought to light that Toby Wells was potentially going to be terminated for granting sweetheart deals for city water to friends. Both Toby Wells and Doug White were subsequently immediately terminated when 2 council members took office. A similarity exists that recalls were attempted in Turlock, just as now happening here. Ceres was also involved in illegal circumstances in Atwater, which occurred prior to the Turlock situation. A Brown Act violation occurred when Art DeWerk and Frank Johnson met with 3 sitting councilors at the Almond Tree restaurant. The purpose was to remove their then current police chief, Sam Joseph, using a Ceres official, Art DeWerk, who was hired by the Atwater Council as an interim city manager, so a councilwoman's husband could be moved from Ceres to Atwater as the police chief. Due to legal action against the city, this plot failed. Similarly, in Tulare, the same pattern of firing police chiefs and city manager also occurred, just as it has here. My concern, as should be yours, as a number of you are in the same recall position as those in Turlock were, is that his 10-year city manager, Jose Ramirez, was terminated for ostensibly no
Thank you, sir. Your 3
valid
minutes have
reason.
been reached.
May I finish, please?
Go ahead.
And your police chief, John Markle, has been placed on administrative leave. Your excuse of not providing more information to the public, because I did the research and looked at what was in the papers, is contravened by this section of Government Code. 54957B1, subject to paragraph 2, this chapter shall not be construed. Actually, I'm going to skip that and go to 2. As a condition to holding a closed session on specific complaints or charges brought against an employee by another person or employee, the employee should be given written notice of his or her right to have complaints or charges heard in open session rather than closed session, which notice shall be delivered to the employee personally or by mail at least 24 hours before the time for holding closed session. This notice, if this notice is
Okay,
not
sir, I
given,
give you additional 30 seconds. We have to move on.
I'm
Thank you.
almost done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other citizen comments? Anybody on the phone? Anybody on the phone? Okay, we're gonna move on to announcement and reports. City staff announcements and reports. Vanessa, any staff tonight?
Yes, we have an announcement from our police chief.
Evening, Mayor and council members. Couple things for you. Councilmember Moran, I took note at our last council meeting, you asked about the spay and neutering. Just to give you an update on that. Give me a second here. The Vaccination Clinic, let me start off with that was scheduled for the 16th, unbeknownst to us on the 8th, was canceled by New Beginnings because of a COVID outbreak and some issues, but they reassured us that they will be rescheduling it here in the city. Thank you, Councilmember Moran, for arranging the Masonic. Hopefully we can do that again when it gets rescheduled. We've looked high and low for a company that's willing to come to town and do a spay and neutering clinic, but they always bring up to us the population of Livingston, and it doesn't draw them here, if that makes sense, to do a spay and neutering clinic. In August, or since August, we've issued out 15 vouchers for spay and neutering, and we still have $3,800 of that left for citizens to come get those vouchers from us, and they can take those vouchers and go get that spay and neutering service done at free of charge. Second thing I have, the RV that I've heard about since I got here at Winton Parkway and Joseph Gallo is gone, so that was an eyesore for the community there next to the Taco Bell. It's been removed, and then as soon as this morning, this is the great news that I bring to you today, the RAN board, the Remote Access Network Board for Merced County, just awarded the City of Livingston Police Department $62,000 to upgrade all of the mobile computers and all the mobile connectivity components in the patrol cars, so that should be coming, and the equipment should be here as soon as May or June. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Council, any questions or comments for our chief?
Well, just a comment, not so much a question, but just a comment. I appreciate that update. I know that people initially there was a lot of interest in the spay and neuter program. I will let them know that there's still plenty of funds available for those vouchers, and since August, there's only 15 that have been used, so there's plenty. And I know that actually, I know that there's a lot more people have been asking for additional support and resources or agencies or contact information in regards to stray cats and dogs, especially cats. And I know that this program, it's primarily designed for domesticated and family pets. Just out here, we have a couple of cats running around, and I think I'm hoping that somehow this program can not only reach out into family homes, but also into other organizations that can help us in our community with our stray population. which I don't know, I'm sure you've seen the many cats and dogs out and around the community. I don't know if you had any phone calls coming in regards to that, but maybe this is also an option so that we as a council can look into considering maybe half of these funds could be created for a stray cat or stray animal spay and neuter program. I don't know,
Councilmember-
do you have some, I don't know,
I have seen specifically speaking about the stray cats. In fact, we're dealing with one right here at City Hall. It just refuses to leave, unfortunately. And I don't want to say COVID, bring up the big COVID word, but there was an outbreak of a disease in the cat kennels at the county shelter. And so unfortunately, the cat population had to be removed from that so it could be disinfected. And so there was basically a moratorium for accepting cats there to house at the shelter for adoption. So, and I'm going to say this, and I'm being optimistic, that too shall pass. But I think if we can get these cats, these stray cats, and get them into a shelter, a caring, environment that puts them up for adoption, and when they go back out into the population, they don't reproduce and cause a bigger problem, if that makes sense.
yes. All right, thank you.
Chief, real quick, I really appreciate you guys handling the RV situation. I know we had brought it up during some of our meetings. We touched base with you, so I really appreciate you making that happen. And just in general, I want to thank you and all the efforts you made at the police department, and I want to thank your guys for always being out there in the community and doing their best. So wish them, just let them know that the council is thankful for their work in the community. Another just quick request, I know I talked to Fire regarding the annual softball game. I'm officially saying it during the council meeting, so if you guys could work towards that and organizing something, Centennial Edition softball game, Fire versus PD, that'd be great.
Absolutely, and I don't know if this is the platform where I can say that or not, but they don't want none of that. They don't want that problem. But absolutely, we can work together and make something fun for the community.
Awesome. Yeah, I believe, considering the past 2 years and COVID, I think hopefully, like you said, this too shall pass, and a nice community event will be welcomed by the community, I'm sure.
Okay. And I'll leave with this, and I say this to each and every one of you and all the citizens of this community: your police department is strong. It is strong. It's something to be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, if I may, just real quick, I forgot about, is there anything that we can, or that you can recommend, or in regards to, I know that lately I've been getting, not complaints, but I guess concerns about speeding vehicles on some of our streets, especially off of Hammett, that stretch from the freeway down to Peach. That's not new. It's been there for quite some time. And then also maybe if, I'm not sure if later I can schedule a meeting through Vanessa and talk about what we can do in regards to our current truck route in the city, and see, kind of get a refresher, because I really don't know what is our current route, and maybe we can educate some of our residents to what the current route is for big trucks, and just try to see how we can work and support both sides, the people that complain about big trucks on certain areas of town, or even on Main Street, which they're not even supposed to be on, but also the owners of those, or the local businesses that employ some of those drivers as well.
Absolutely. I would do nothing but support such a meeting to discuss those issues and roundtable and work together to try to figure out strategies to fix it. I'll tell you right now that manpower and resources is going to be one of those obstacles. But I think with the support of the council and, the support of Vanessa and the police department, we can make it happen. Anything's possible.
All right, thank you.
And Vanessa, any other departments?
I have our fire department report.
Thank you.
Good evening, council, mayor, members of the public. I was going to present a PowerPoint for our year end, but got a little bit busy today on training, took longer than I expected. But just real quick numbers from last year, we're up almost 14% on calls. Last year we ran 2,249 calls, where the year before that we ran 1,969 calls. So we're up, 300 calls. And 2 years ago was the first year we ever ran over 200 calls in a month. Last year we did it 5 times, I believe. So our call volume is definitely trending up. And just a real quick announcement, I will be leaving Livingston Station as a fire captain and moving to a different station. So this will be my last week. I'll be here next week with a new captain to introduce him to people, show him around. But just want to take the time to say thank you guys. It's been a pleasure working with you guys. I've learned a lot over my last 5 years here with the city. And I've seen some great leadership throughout my 5 years, and I appreciate all that I could learn from everybody that's both, on the council, the police department, everyone in public works, recreations. We got some good stuff going on here, and it's been a pleasure being here. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Captain. On behalf of the city, as a city mayor, but not only as a city mayor, but as one of your firefighters, I've also learned a lot from you and your leadership in the department. And you've been nothing but an asset to our community. And hopefully one day you might be able to return. So we thank you. We thank you. I mean, you're a local guy. You went to high school here, and we appreciate all the time and efforts you've made to improve the department and the station. So bittersweet, but I know you'll be in a good place, good station where you're going, and stay in touch. And thank you for everything once again. And just back to your report, obviously that ties in with increase in calls throughout the years. Every year the call volume goes up, and that's why I myself advocated for we need a second body. We need a second full-time firefighter. Our volunteer company is great and a great support for our personnel there at the station, but we do need that second body. And then I know that we've talked about it, and we are actively working towards that as we speak. But once again, thanks for everything you've done in the station and our department, our city. So we're going to miss you. Council, any other comments?
Yes, quick question. Do you have an idea more or less if those calls are they more from outside from the county or in the city?
We've been pretty consistent over my last 5 years, and even when I take the train out, it's been pretty consistent, 60% city, 40% county, give or take a couple percent every year. I think last year we were at like 62% city, and I'm going to see if I can come back in the next time and see if I can introduce the new captain here, and I'll try to have those numbers exact and do a quick presentation, and so I can show you guys everything if I can't come in on that day.
Well, and this is just a comment. Congratulations. I'm sure that it's not something easy for you to do, but opportunities. Maybe I'm thinking maybe it's a different opportunity to grow and not only professionally, but just wish you the best. Every time at any time that I had a question, you're always there. You're always here. Well, for every council meeting, that says a lot. And just wish you the best anywhere you go.
Thank you.
And hope to see you back. Thank you.
Yeah, same here, Brian. I wish you the best luck, and it was a pleasure working with you. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and chime in on that. Thank you very much, Captain Alvis, for all your years of service. Thank you for representing Livingston and everything that you do. Your heart is here. Your home is here. So
Yeah, I did take a
congratulations.
very special here going to school and graduating and running into a lot of friends that I have here. And it will be some bittersweet days ahead, I can guarantee that.
And for myself also, I say thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much, guys.
You have to come back for the softball game.
Oh,
Do you have a response to our chief?
I mean, you know, he talks a big game, but he wasn't there last time, so he didn't see the threat that the police department did on the saying that they're going to give them parking tickets if they didn't go their way. I didn't understand that.
I agree, they did.
Yeah,
They did, man.
so-
Yeah, I was there.
Thank you very much.
All right, Captain. Vanessa, any other departments?
That's it for our department report.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to city manager announcements and reports.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, council members, members of the public, city staff here present. I just wanted to look back from our last council meeting in December and just share really quick on some of the items that we have implemented as back in the meeting in December, we lost the streaming in our YouTube video connection. So in terms, we normally have an electronic copy of the council meeting. However, because this electronic copy happened to be also tied into the streaming of the network for the YouTube video, we were left with no video. That is something that it is not acceptable from us. We hold this responsibility to ensure that we have a backup to that backup, and our consultant, our video consultant in our IT department, along with city staff, have worked around the clock in order to ensure that we have measures that this does not happen in the future. And we have this, it's been tested, we have installed along with our streaming, and we have a new dedicated IP address or internet address in order for the video and the streaming not to have any interruptions. But besides that, we have also implemented some redundancies in this process as far as the video recording, which is going to be, besides the soft recording, we also have what they call a hard recording, which means just a video camera with the tape running and having a recording of our meeting. So in any event that we lose streaming for any kind of circumstance, as far as the internet goes down, we lose our connection, our network is down, we will always have this one recording from an pretty much old school device, a video recorder, which is in progress right now. Also, we have that redundancy, but our video technician has implemented another point of recording, which also it's held and it is managed by our deputy city clerk. And besides that, we also have a voice recording of this meeting. So we will have backup to the backup to the backup to ensure that all of our meetings are streamed. If there's something happens, we will have that recording uploaded into our internet. So we have implemented those solutions, and they're in place at the moment. Moving on to other items, our public has noticed we have city closures of City Hall offices and public works. We implemented this due to the holiday spike in COVID-19 cases. We returned from our holiday break with a series of downturn in staff having to go through quarantine, and in order to minimize exposure, in order to protect our residents and our staff members that are healthy, and we want to continue to keep them healthy, we implemented the closure to public access. We continue to provide city services. If the residents need to pay their bills, open accounts, we are accessible via phone, email, through our website. And we extended this closure through this Friday. We will be assessing we're hoping that the cases and the curve kind of flattens and it gets under control. We are hoping that by next Monday, we will resume operations and our doors will be opening to the public. In the event that we continue to see high number of cases, they're reported daily, but we normally assess this on Thursday. We will be updating our website to notify the public if we will be having that foot traffic of customers coming through our doors, or if we will extend that closure. And that's all I have on my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I know it's, safety and health is a priority, and I know it's difficult managing and operating with, people out. So I appreciate you guys making efforts to make sure that the public still has access to City Hall. And so I know it's a difficult situation, but you guys hang in there and just tell your staff that we're thankful for all their efforts and to stay healthy. I have a couple questions. I know that obviously people have been reaching out to me. They've obviously seen the work with the solar panels. Any update or information regarding that?
Our solar panels continue to be in the building and in putting up the structure stage. We were supposed to be complete with the solar panels in the PD side 2 weeks ago, but everything it's becoming very slow due to staff shortage and just materials in all regard. However, we have seen some better weather as well. The weather was not cooperating with us in the past 2.5 weeks, but we've seen better weather and they continue to work on the installation. So they're almost complete with the solar panels by the PD area, and then they have started also on our Max Foster complex.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. I know there's, like you said, challenges there, but they're making some progress, which people could see, and they've reached out, and excited to complete that project. I know it probably is a similar thing with the lights at the sports complex. I know the last update we got or that we talked about was that still awaiting some of the materials, correct?
That is correct. Our materials have been on hold due to the supplier not being able to have the material on hand.
Yeah.
And this is all in terms of just the shortages that the whole state or nation is experiencing.
Yes. It's probably the same thing then for the Lucero Park playground. I know we ordered it some time ago.
We have, and we're seeing wait times of between 30 plus, and between 30 to 90 days on these items.
Okay. And then could we get just a quick update? Obviously, I think myself and Mayor Pro Tem, we are usually do home visits on the weekends, and we were on our way to a home visit, and we saw obviously one of the water mains ruptured on Hammett. Get us a quick update on the efforts that were being made to fix that.
We had a water main rupture, that's correct, in which our public works on-call staff and our public safety, our patrols were quickly to respond and block the area in order to get the situation under control. Right now, it needs full replacement, so we're getting quotes and for the material and for the labor for this water main. It has a patch so far because it was contained, but we need to replace it, and this is just the aging infrastructure that we have at the city that we're either replacing and taking care of.
Yeah, thank you, and once again, we want to thank the public works staff. They're out there on the weekend trying their best to, address it or patch it as best as possible, and PD was assisting, and even Mayor Pro Tem was working out there. So I'm kidding, he wasn't. Liability. He was not touching anything. No, it was a great team effort. Everybody was out there and trying to fix it as soon as possible. So thank you for all those efforts. And then, I did notice some landscaping work around town today. We appreciate it. Appreciate all that work they're doing and trying to keep our city maintained and looking good for our citizens. So thank you. Council, any questions for Vanessa? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to city council members' announcements and reports. Councilmember Jose Moran.
Yes, thank you. Just a few items. Last week on the 13th, I had the opportunity to attend the city and county dinner. This time it was in the city of Los Banos. It was a nice little drive and nice to see some of the people from the other cities out there. Just over the last few weeks and over the holidays, by the way, Happy New Year to everyone. I had the opportunity to meet with a few residents in different locations. And yes, something that I mentioned earlier to the chief in regards to speeding cars, certain areas of town with cars driving too fast, and also actually 2 different meetings with 2 different people from different areas of town in regards to stray cats and not so much even though they can be an annoyance, but so much as like it was more about what can we do to be preventive and not have just cats all over the place and reproducing. Sometimes cats, they can reproduce up to 3 times a year. And then later the city sometimes ends up having some of those injured animals being taken to the hospital because they don't have an owner, and then we end up paying more than it would be to either do an investment in a spay and neuter program for stray cats. But other than that, I think today or this morning, the state announced a program I know a lot of people have been messaging me and calling me about the COVID test kits. There's none available where I had them, where I was able to get them from the county. But now you can sign up with the Postal Service. There's a special website that you can sign up and they can send you up to, I believe it's 4 different test kits. So if you need more information, call me or message me or text me or, most of you are able to know how to reach out to me. If not, you can call me at 219-585-8565 and I can send you the information on how to sign up to receive 4 test kits on the mail. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Maria Soto.
I also attended the county city event last week. I also attended the Planning Commission meeting of last week as well. So I'll wait for planning to come out with their report when they have one.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
For the COVID test kits, do we still have some, Vanessa, here at City Hall?
We have very few, as we had we had dispersed them to the current outbreaks that we've been having.
Okay, so I know we, like City Manager said, we still have some here at City Hall, so feel free to call in, and if they're still available, feel free to pick them up. It's not just for veterans, it's for the general public now. We got that a few weeks ago that I can hand them out to the general public. And also, I just want to say thank you for the City of Livingston citizens for their support in the latest recall effort, for supporting us, supporting me, and seeing that what we're doing, we're trying to do the best for the city, not for ourselves. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to move on to mayor's announcements and reports. For myself, also attended the City-County Relations Center in Los Baños. Always great to see our colleagues from other jurisdictions, and it's always about establishing relationships, and it's a good event. Thanks for all attended. In regards to the COVID tests, like Councilmember Moran was saying, they did announce that COVID tests are going to be available through the U.S. Postal Service, and the website for that is covidtest.gov. If anybody's interested, covidtest.gov to get additional information and the process to obtaining such. I know there was also, I think, public health and other agencies providing testing kits out for home. In regards to myself, Happy New Year to everybody. Been meeting with a lot of people from the community. I know, like Mayor Pro Tem Garcia, we've gone to see a few people during the weekends, and we appreciate all the communication and reaching out to us to touch bases with the public's concerns and, what they like to see in town, and trying to hear them out, and appreciate all the support, ongoing support in the past year. We've been working on different things. One of the things we've been working on is the ATV park, trying to allow access for ATV at one of our city properties. I know we've been working on that. I know Vanessa and Tom, I think you're aware of it now, in regards to what the liability would be, and hopefully we here sooner than later be able to finalize that and move forward. And that, that should be open to the public, and just have another avenue for youth and the community to other activities out there for them to be able to do. In regards to the situation with the video, in regards to myself or the recording of the last meeting, definitely unfortunate, and definitely I think the whole council expressed that there has to be safeguards in regards to preventing such a situation in the future. It's nothing that we planned for. Some people are saying that we did it on purpose. I have no access to any equipment or IP addresses or IT or anything like that. So that's the last thing I would want to do, is jeopardize or prevent the meetings from being recorded, especially last meeting. So absolutely not. I appreciate all the work and attention to this matter that Vanessa and your staff did. So thank you for putting in those safeguards. Like I said, a lot of public contact lately, and looking forward to a lot of a productive year. I know we'll talk later on. We'll bring up the idea of having a goal setting workshop as soon as possible, and I'll bring it up during future agenda items. But I know we talked with Vanessa about this. We need a goal-setting workshop as soon as possible, hopefully next week, but not only amongst ourselves, but with our department heads, just to set the agenda for the next year. There's a lot of excitement with the council and trying to accomplish things, and look forward to working together to make some of these goals a possibility, as long as we prioritize and identify what the community wants. And like I said, we're going to make things happen, and I appreciate all the support. I think that's it for me. Another thing, just to touch bases regarding like traffic calming measures. I know there's funding that we put aside for speed bumps or stop signs. I know that a few of you out there have been waiting to hear what the process is. I know we put that money aside, so there's money out there. We just need to refine the process and how we could access and how the community could access that funding to make things going. So we need to make that a priority, since the money has been identified and put aside. So I think that's something we need to do. I know that those process presented to us during one of the workshops, which happened to be, there's some issues with it, so we need to readdress it and bring it to council as soon as possible to have the community know what the process is to have speed bumps, maybe in a certain area, or stop signs, or wherever the case may be. But we need to make that our priority as soon as possible. I know the Centennial celebration, or Centennial year is this year, and we look forward to different activities, not only by the Rec Commission or Rec Department, but I know myself, we're looking forward to planning some events as well with, in collaboration with community partners and citizens out there that are excited and want to bring things to Livingston in regards to celebrating the centennial of our city. And that's it for me. I'm going to move on to consent agenda.
May,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
if I may, I know you mentioned, and Councilmember Morana also mentioned in regards to the COVID test website, I will be updating our website with that link so it is readily accessible to our residents as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Consent agenda, we're going to go ahead and move on. Items in the consent calendar are considered routine or non-controversial and will be enacted by one vote unless separate action is requested by the city manager or city council member. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the council or manager request that specific items be removed. Okay, we have 10 items.
Yes, I do have a question on a couple of items.
Which ones?
If we can pull item 2, 9, and 10, and then I move to approve the consent agenda if there are no other items to be pulled.
Any other items to be pulled? I don't see any, so we have a motion for approval of item 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Maria Soto.
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, Monica. Okay, your question for item number 2?
Yes. So I think I know what this is, but I'm not sure because I don't have a report here for item number 2. So I guess this question is for legal. Is this the same item that we've been dealing with every month?
That's correct, Councilmember.
Okay. So can we just, even though if it's a replicate, just add a copy of it in our next agenda when it comes up again, just
Sure.
for reference?
Yeah.
So that at least we know what we're approving and nothing has changed? Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Any other questions, council, at this moment? Bring it up for citizen comments regarding this item that was pulled. Okay, I don't see any, hear any, so bring it back to council for any additional clarifications or motions.
I move to approve item number 2.
We have a motion by Councilmember Rosa Moran. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. Could we get roll call or voting?
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, Monica. Item number 9, Jose, your question?
Yes, thank you. So item number 9 is in regards to the supplemental appropriation for American Rescue Plan Act funds. I read through it, and although there's an amount for $759,594, but and I know it just says local projects, but I would like to have a little bit more information about what could qualify as local projects before I consider anything.
Thank you, Council Member. I'll try to address your questions. The things that this money can be spent on are 4 buckets, and Vanessa, you might need to help me to remember these. They're water and sewer, broadband communication, pay for essential workers during the COVID, and I think there's another one, it's not coming to mind.
Yeah. The other one, it's for the backfill of revenue loss due to the
Okay.
pandemic for the city. And the fourth one, the projects are water, sewer, or broadband.
Yeah.
The other bucket of items to be spent, it's for premium pay, the backfill of revenue loss from the general fund due to the pandemic, and the last item, it's for any kind of initiative for economic development for industries impacted by the pandemic, such as the tourism industry and so forth.
Okay, so that's part of my question. So when you mean conduct economic, well, I guess my big question was, do we have projects already that we can say, okay, these are some of the items that we want to use these funds for specifically within those areas?
Councilmember Moran, we're bringing to the council the appropriation, and what we are asking the council to approve is the updated amount of the ARP funds. In the budget, we had what we knew at the time when we prepared the budget back in March. It's that the city was going to be receiving $2.8 million. Once the budget got approved in June, because we need to have this framework ready to go for our new fiscal year in July. After the budget was approved, we were noticed that we had an updated amount of $3.5 million, and that is what we're asking the council to approve, the updated amount of $3.5 million. From the time also between March and June, when the budget was approved, we had not set aside the monies. We had not put the monies or allocated the monies into specific projects. However, we have been doing that through separate actions. One of those actions was to allocate some of this ARP money through the rate study approval. We allocated and we were able to approve lower rates for our residents, with the understanding that we were going to set aside $2.2 million for water for the well 12 and for some equipment in the sewer fund. And then after that rate study, we also approved premium pay or hazard pay through the MOUs. And these items have not been reflected in the budget, so we're asking the council to make that, to approve that movement of money, so that way we know that we have been utilizing this funds from the ARP for specific purposes. What you see here for the $700,000, the council has not approved any local projects specific, but we're just putting a placeholder so the council can do that approval at a later time.
Okay, I think I got it now. I mean, and then this also helps for the public out there to understand how. So one, last time we only approved the 2.8.
That's correct.
Then the funding, we had additional money that came in, so now we have that extra money, but we have to accept that extra money.
Absolutely.
And then now we have to, because last time we approved to allocate $2 million and so on, and then the employee stipends, but so that additional 750, that additional money, is that already allocated?
It hasn't been, and it will come to council for approval.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
Council, any other questions?
Brad, anything that we may need to add? I'm sorry,
No, I think when the 2.8 million was the estimate, there was information brought to the council at that time to kind of make some decisions on what they wanted to spend it on. And the ones that show up here are kind of those. So we kind of need to go through that process again. And just like you've pointed out, there is more money there, and there is, and that's a good thing. We just kind of have to decide what it can be spent on. But again, we're limited to sort of those 4 buckets at the end of the day to spend the money on.
I don't see any additional questions. To take it up for any citizen comments regarding this item. Okay, I don't see any. We'll bring it back to council for direction or additional questions.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Jose Moran. Monica?
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, Monica. Jose, item number 10.
Yes, thank you. So this is item number 10, state and local national class action lawsuit settlement. My understanding is that from this settlement, then the city is designed to or estimated to receive close to $5,000 a year. I had the amount here somewhere, $4,900. And those funds, if we accept this, then those funds should be directed to the county instead of being directed to the city directly. Can you expand on that a little bit? Why? Or so that I think I know why, but just for public.
No problem.
Thank you.
Mayor, Councilmember Moran, we are requesting through this item for the city to move forward and opt in into this class action lawsuit. As you pointed out, yes, the city's allocation, it is calculated to be roughly $5,000, $4,900 annually for the next 18 years. This money, there are certain guidelines where this money needs to be spent, and certainly those efforts cannot be achieved with $5,000 for the city, because we don't have the staff, the personnel that it is knowledgeable on behavioral health and recovery services. So what cities are doing and what we are requesting to do is to opt into this settlement class action lawsuit and get the money and forward this money to the county, which holds or has a department that all they do is advocate and provide services to the population that is that could be served and could benefit from these dollars. If we don't do anything, the monies will go back to the state. However, we feel that if we were to opt in to this into this settlement or this action, we are able to bring in those monies and allocate them to the county so the monies could stay local within the community of Merced County. We have within the Merced County, the city of Atwater, Livingston, Los Banos, and Merced have been identified as cities that have opted in, and there is a percentage that is attached to the staff report. Many of the cities are receiving a higher dollar amount. For example, the city of Atwater is receiving $20,000 on an annual basis, and they are also redirecting these funds to the county to provide the services because of the same reason. Their $20,000, it's not going to provide the services that it's not going to take us in the ways of providing the services that we are required to provide based on this lawsuit, but as a community and as a whole, these dollars will definitely help our community to stay within and not go to the state.
And just to add, being familiar with that field, absolutely $5,000 is not going to really do much as if we were to do anything with that. But like you mentioned, the experts will just enhance services for the county as a whole and having more resources that our community could access. Those county departments service the whole county. They do have an office here actually in Livingston. So it's just an effort to enhance services, enhance resources, and I think it's a win-win.
Plus, if you take the money directly, you have to do an annual report.
That is correct. The reporting requirements are very detailed with any kind of funding that the city receives outside of the general fund, and it will just in staff time, we would probably be spending $4,900 to provide a report on how we use this money without ever sending this money out to the community for services.
Any additional questions?
So just for clarification, if we decide to go this route, we have no paperwork to do. We're not responsible for any additional reports. The county will be doing it on our behalf or on behalf of everybody else. Is there anything else that we would be attached or compromised to do by participating?
No, by opting to direct this monies to the county will assume full responsibility of providing the services and reporting on this money.
Any additional questions, council? No? Okay, we'll take it out for public comment regarding this item. Any public comment? Okay, bring it back to council for direction.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
A motion by Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Councilmember King.
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on to our public hearings. We have one, item 11, public hearing resolution to adopt fee increase to the recreation programs. Who has that item?
I have I will introduce the item, Mayor.
Okay.
Kidding. Mayor, we are bringing to a public hearing the recreation fees and some policy updates for the recreation department. The fees, the fees were established back in 2008 through a resolution 2008-09, and these fees, I'll go over. The purpose of these fees are to obtain revenue to supplement or completely replace maintenance of operational costs, reduce the program impact on the general fund, amortize capital investments, enable the department to provide facilities or programs for which funds might not otherwise be available, and to provide sufficient revenue to cover costs and provide surplus revenue for expansion programs and services. These fees have not been updated or revised from their adoption back in 2008. At council's direction, our staff has conducted surveys with neighboring cities across county lines and brought forward different ideas and different comparisons of the fees. They have held numerous meetings with council, with the recreation department or the recreation commission, and last we held a joint meeting back in November of 2021 with the Parks and Recreation Commission and the council to review the findings of the staff's report, and it was agreed that we needed to move forward, and it was the wish of the commission and the council to move forward with adopting updated fees. Fees do have to go through a Proposition 218 process, therefore tonight's public hearing. And we have attached a summary schedule of what the fees are, the new fees that are being proposed and the fees that are being updated. We are looking into updating fees for most of our programs, T-ball, baseball, softball. The soccer program, we are looking at updating park rental fees, adding the class for residents and non-residents on the park rental, field rentals for the OD or T soccer field, field rental in different tiers, whether this field needs lights, the rental of lights, or this field needs to be prepared by staff, the field prep for soccer. Also, we are looking at increasing the fees for the Alvernas baseball field. The same thing, adding a tier for rental with lights, field prep. We are adding fees for the Joseph Gallo Park shelters, batting cages at the Albernas field, renting of the basin at Max Foster, pool rentals. We have updated fees for pool rentals for the different tiers of between 25 and 50 people and 50 to 150 people. Along with that, we also have some policy updates in the language. We are updating the sections where the determination of fees for facilities and equipment rentals. In Class 2, determining what classifies as a resident, it's being lowered from a, we're having more detailed parameters of what is a resident, which now it will constitute for the organization to have a 51% verified residency. Resident team descriptions, before the resident team was supposed to be made up of 75% residents, and now this percentage is being lowered to 51% of the composition of the resident team to be considered resident. The priority of user groups, it's also being identified that a community league is defined by 75% of its members to be Livingston residents. That threshold, it's being lowered to 51%. Proof of residency, it's being more descriptive of what is needed to provide proof of residency for our signups, are the kids or the adults that sign up for activities. There is new language being proposed for the league facility reservation process. This is updated fields and facilities available. They are adding some new facilities that were not part of the park, the list of parks and amenities that the city had. Park and field rules, it's being updated as well, with some park hours that it's regulated by the Livingston Municipal Code, Section 9.8.1, and just not permitting unauthorized sale of merchandise and no littering or pets or animals during city sponsor events. That constitutes the changes and the updates between the fees and the policy.
Thank you, Vanessa. I know this is something that the Recreation Commission and the Recreation Department had worked on and requested. We had a workshop to look into this matter, and I think everybody was in agreement and support of those changes. And of course, that's something, at least for myself, that, we don't want to increase fees, and it's, it's a bad timing, COVID, everything else that goes with that, but I know they haven't increased in a long time, and, things increase, and prices increase, and cost of maintaining and operating goes up, and we have to, sometimes, as much as we don't want to, we need to make those changes to continue on with those programs and continue on with services and quality services, not only basic services. So, and that gives additional funding for recreation and an opportunity to possibly do other activities as well. So, Council, any questions or clarifications?
I got a question.
Yes.
So line number 7 says the youth soccer and then the park free rental for class 4 non-residents. The current, for the Pee Wee, it says 50, but then proposed is 35. Is it supposed to be the other way around on that one, or? And then the park rental fee, non-residents, current 84, and then the proposed is 60 for Memorial Park.
Got Tony coming up from Recreation.
I believe that the Pee Wee fee, it's lower because it requires less staffing. So they're lowering the Pee Wee, and they're charging for the all
I can
other-
help you with that.
No, sorry, for the all other, it's higher. Thank you. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, so the Pee Wee, basically, it's to cover their costs, their ball, their jersey, because there is no extra staff hired. So we just went off apparently I'm giving feedback. So originally, it was a certain cost, but now when we went back to reevaluate, we made sure that it just covered the cost because there's no referees, there's no umpire, and all of our volunteer coaches. So it just basically covers the cost. And then the rental fees, what we tried to do is keep it 20% across the board. Originally, it was a certain price if you were a non-resident. And so what we did is just tried to make it even across the board. So it just went up to 20%. That's why it's just a little lower. But it would still cover our cost.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions or concerns?
Council, any other questions? I don't see any. I'm going to go ahead and take it out for, going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Any citizen comments regarding this item in regards to the adopting the fee increase for recreational programs? I don't see any. We're gonna, anybody on the phone? I know some commissioners were probably on the phone. Anybody want to comment? Okay, we're gonna bring it back to council for further.
Close the hearing.
Oh, sorry. Closing the public hearing. Council, any additional questions, clarifications, or motions?
How often is the Recreation Department going to revisit these fee increases? I don't remember what was stated.
As needed, or I don't know. I don't know if we talked about a specific time frame. Never mind.
There wasn't a specific time frame given. It was something we were going to look into about how we're going to not have it go so many years since 2008 till 2021. We're going to try and come up with an algorithm, basically, as minimum wage goes up, we need to look at how that's going to affect our programming, because that's usually what affects it. And we haven't done that yet. We're looking at just moving on to this first step before we move on to the next.
Mayor, Councilmember
Yes.
Soto, regarding your question as well, best practice is to do this review annually. At the time when we're building our budget, we should also be revisiting all of our fees in order to ensure that we are charging what that we're adjusting fees according to inflation and as cost goes up.
Perfect. Any other questions, council? I don't see any. Okay, any wishes, motions, clarifications?
Since 2008, I realized that the fees haven't increased. This is a start for us, and I'm glad to know that our best practice is going to be revisiting these fees. I don't, with everything said here in this first paragraph, how the purpose of the fees are to 1 through 5, it looks like we want to be able to have our rec department self-sustaining, but again, we're looking at overhead costs for just the department. So again, having, with number 5, provide sufficient revenue to cover costs and provide surplus revenue. So $5, some of the minimums going down and reducing some of the percentages to accommodate non-residents. I get that the second park is priority to our residents, but the survey already said that we are the cheapest around, and we're gonna get those people that want to come and use our facilities from out of town, and that's going to bringing that down to 51% allows them to come in if not priority 1 or priority 2 is in place. So these fees, I wish they would be a little bit higher, but this is a start.
Yes.
This is a start. So again, revisiting and see how much the costs that the department puts out to have programs that involve all the youth, particularly Livingston youth, and using our facilities so that, well, we want our facilities used, but again, increasing the fees as it's reviewed on an annual basis.
Direction.
I move to approve, or actually, this is something where we need to make, it's an action item, right? Yes. Okay. So I know that the Recreation Department has been working on this for quite some time. I mean, I can probably remember at least 4 years, if not more. And also I heard from residents that they rather pay, because having lower fees sometimes cancels some of our programs, and then those families end up going somewhere else anyways. And what they were saying is like, I'd rather pay those $5 here than having to go somewhere else. And so I move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Jose Moran. Do we have a second? I'll do the second. So second by myself. Monica?
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, Monica. We move on to discussion and potential action items. We have item number 12, City Council to provide self-direction for appointments to the Park and Recreations Commission.
Yes, Mayor, I will provide a brief introduction on this item as well. We, a Recreation Commission, 4 regular members and 1 alternate member. Term is expiring at the end of January. We have been advertising for this 5 vacancies since early December, and we have advised that applications have a deadline now of January 21st. Staff is asking council for direction in order to extend the application period, or to bring any of this, or the applicants that we have received to date, to our first meeting in February for appointment.
Thank you, Vanessa. Pretty straightforward. I know, for myself, I believe, I know, during the holidays, people are preoccupied, COVID situation, I really think I feel that we should extend the deadline for the applications and do efforts to advertise and reach out, do some outreach in regards to, for the commissioners, rec commission. I've heard of a lot of interest. People want to get involved. They want to participate, and I think there's a great opportunity. I think we should give it a little bit more time and see who applies and get a pool of people willing to commit and participate. So that's just my thoughts. Council, any other comments?
When you say extend, like, what's the date? What date would you put on there?
Their term expires at the end of January.
It'll be the 1st of March or something? Or
Maybe just what? So they would just, the current ones would still
Yeah, they serve until
serve
replaced.
until,
Yeah.
I say at least give it another month. I would say another month. And then you could bring it at the maybe first meeting in March to see the applicant, in regards to the applicants.
that's what I was thinking.
How many applications have we received?
I will turn
Ton-
that.
ton-
I know I received one by email. I don't know if Recreation has received any.
Okay, so yeah. So. So we probably definitely need to extend it, since if there's only one applicant. But yeah, just message to the public, it's a great opportunity to get involved. The commission is dear to my heart. We started that when I first got elected to council, and they do a lot of good things. They do a lot of community service, a lot of efforts out there that are noticed by the community, and it's a good way to give back. So for myself, I think we should extend it at least one more month and really do some outreach to recruit some applicants. I myself will be reaching out to some people that have reached out in the past, trying to get involved and ask questions of how they could do that. So, council?
Actually, question, have any of the current commissioners, which term is going to be expiring, have they shown any interest? I would suggest or recommend for any of them that are interested in continuing, to send in an email or some form of interest, so that way we know. Or would they need to fill up a new application in this case, or just show interest?
I know in the past they had resubmitted an application.
So they have to fill up an application?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, absolutely. If there's, I'm sure there's some that are willing to continue on, and we welcome that, submit our application. And some, have given back, and then they want to take a break or have other things going on, and just give everybody a fair opportunity to, those who are interested, to apply or reapply.
So yes, I suggest that we give at least one more month, 30 days, to evaluate those applications, unless anybody else wants to extend it even further.
Any other comments? You guys good with 30 days?
It's the 1st of March, the first count.
Or we could just say, we'll bring whatever applications we have by the first meeting in March, whatever, how many days is that? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
So is that good direction?
Yes, I was going to recap, Mayor. We will have this application period open through,
The end of February.
I had it, okay, end of February, so that would be the 28th. And we will bring applications received on the first meeting in March. We have to prepare this and post this agenda before, so I just want to make sure for calendar purposes that we are able to comply. So February 21st would be a good date to close this in order for us to capture
Because the meeting's
and submit our response, or like submit our staff report in time for the agenda to be posted,
in
so.
March, right? Yeah,
we'll
that
do
makes sense. Let's do that, because
Okay.
you guys have to have time to review it and process and all that.
So it will be extended through February 21st and bring back to council on the first meeting in March. Okay.
Sounds good. All right, that's good. Okay, so we're going to move on to item number 13, status update to the council concerning recall petition.
I think that'll be me, or thank you, Mayor and Council. Just very briefly, the recall failed. The proponents were required to get 1,483 signatures for each petition. Each petition received 1,300 and something approved valid signatures according to the county registrar of voters. And they're the one that checked them all, not my office, not our staff. County did all the signature checking. So the petitioners were notified of the results on the 13th. Council is not required to take any action at this point. Again, the recall just dies. It costs the city approximately $50,000 between attorney's fees and staff time and other costs. Again, no further action required by the council.
Thank you so much, Tom, for that update. Definitely, and I just want to say a few words. You know, I do thank the community for their ongoing support, like I mentioned many times. You know, those reaching out to us, reaching out to myself, and taking the opportunity to sit down with me and talk to me. And you know, there was a lot of noise made, a lot of disrespect, a lot of false information being thrown out there. But ultimately, my focus, I know the other council members' focus, is the improvement and bettering the community. We're not here for selfish reasons, and that has been demonstrated in my whole life in regards to giving back to the community. I just want to, you know, leave a better place for my community, my family, my son. So, like I said, I thank those that didn't fall into this nonsense and supported us through the past year as a whole. It really has delayed a lot of stuff that we've been wanting to accomplish, but we're very motivated and going to move forward and accomplish great things in the next year or so. Council, I don't know if you guys want to make any other comments. You guys good? All right, do I have to take it out for public comment? Yeah, we'll take it out for public comment. Anybody want to comment? Any citizen comments regarding this item? Okay, we'll bring it back. And that's it. You know, we're always, speak for myself, I know for the rest of the council, we're always here, available at any time to meet with anybody. Like I said, we've been doing home visits in the weekends, and we're available if any questions. Reach out. People did reach out and spoke to us and believed in us, and we're here for the community. It's unfortunate all that cost that could have been used towards a lot of other things, a lot of other priorities, from public safety to our streets and everything else. So it was very unfortunate that we had that cost. But we'll take it out. We'll continue on to our council direction on future agenda items.
One for, I mentioned a few weeks ago for Vanessa about the term limits, and never heard from you again. Can you get back to that?
That one's in my court, council member.
Okay, Tom?
Yeah. And
I'll give you a call on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know for myself, I know this, we have several meetings, Vanessa, and I know Tom, I think it might be on your court as well. The ATV park or area, whatever you want to eventually call it, definitely something that we've been working with a group of residents here and citizens here in our town. very excited once, the track is being worked on and we just making sure that liability-wise, the city's covered. But it's going to be exciting opening up that to the community. I know, Tom, are you working on that? And I really want to make this a priority because I know we've been working on this for some time, and so let's bring it back as soon as possible. Let's sit down with those helping us out with the ATV, hopefully maybe have a meeting here soon, maybe as early as next week, and just touch bases and bring it to the next council meeting to really finalize that project.
Yeah, there's some precedent in other cities, and now after the holidays, things like this will get rolling.
Awesome. Thank you. I know we had mentioned the skate park situation. I know, and I understand, staffing levels have been low and we had to prioritize, but I still want to make that a priority as well, the skate park situation, how we could accomplish that this year. And then I know Centennial celebration, I know sooner than later we need to have some kind of opening or some kind of a grand opening for the year celebration, or I don't know, something. I'll touch base with Tony in Recreation Department. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Another thing that I talked to Vanessa about, and we need to have this workshop or goal setting workshop. We talked about having it as soon as next week as well. Not only amongst ourselves, but with the department heads. And I know other cities, like the city of Merced, has had a roundtable discussion with their department heads. It's less formalized, and really sit down and identify goals and identify projects that need to be completed or worked on in the next year or so. I really want to have such a meeting as early as next week, pending availability of council and staffing. So let's make that happen. I think that's it for now. And I mean, there's other things we're working on, and we'll be bringing them to council as well in the near future here. But council, any other?
Mayor, sorry.
Council, any other? Councilmember King? Councilmember Jose Moran? Oh, another thing, sorry, real quick, I've been working on, we are going to have some, I don't want to say ceremony, but we are going to be recognizing several members of our community here pretty soon that have been recognized by other organizations or made a difference in our city. So that'll be coming here shortly as well. Councilmember Maria Soto?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Again, thank you for speaking out on our behalf in regards to the recall efforts. We've all been doing our due diligence as representatives of Livingston, and I appreciate many of the residents that stood behind us and believed in what we're trying to accomplish here as your elected. Some of the items that I wanted to touch upon, I know that I've reached out to some residents in regards to Memorial Park, if we can see that as a future agenda item, in order to see that there is a demarcation between the public access and what belongs to the veterans. I'd also like to revisit the ordinance that we have on mobile food vendors, since the census has come out and we can just look at the ordinance for different varieties of food vendors.
I have one more item I forgot. I know I mentioned earlier, but the traffic measures, calming measures, we need to really have that process finalized so people could start accessing those funds, please. I know it's a lot, and I understand that we're short-staffed and missing a few department heads and all that good stuff, but definitely some priorities that we need to get going as soon as possible. Anything else, Council? Mayor Pro Tem Garcia, you're good? Tom, you're good? Vanessa, you're good?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and adjourn our meeting at 8:38 p.m. Thank you.